Hi and welcome back. So in this video we're going to be going over how to write the getBlogs method. So one of the key things we have to realize when we are trying to get the blogs for a specific author is how are the blogs structured in the database? What sort of data are we saving for any specific blog? So what to do is to go over here to our database, and as you can see I've executed db.blogs.find, and that is going to give me all of the blogs in the database, and that way I can check the structure of the documents that are stored in this blogs collection. As we can see, for each of the blogs we are storing an ID, the author, a description, and a title. So one of the first things that we may realize is that we're not storing an author ID. We're only storing an author name. Now, names, as you know, multiple people can have the same name, so searching by author name might not be the smartest thing to do. So in order to fix that, we're going to have to go back into our blog model and make sure that we're saving the author ID as well as the blog ID and the author name. And that way, we'll be able to search through by author ID. So the first thing to do is go into our blog model, and here as we can see we've got author, title, description, and underscore ID. And remember, this is the constructor, which means for every blog object that we create we're going to have these 4 properties. And I'm going to add as well an author ID. Notice that I'm not giving this a default value because it's not an optional parameter. All blogs need to have an author. And I'm going to just put it here, self-author ID equals author ID. And we're also going to have to go and change the JSON. And that is pretty much it. However, the only way to search for blogs right now through this model is with this fromMongo method. This fromMongo method takes in the blog ID and then finds one blog with that underscore ID. We want to create another method that will allow us to search by author ID. So I'm going to create a method called findByAuthorID, which is a class method because it's going to return a list of blog objects that takes in the author ID, which is the author that we're going to find blogs of. And then we're going to say blogs equals database.find, collection equals blogs, which is the collection we're looking for. We're looking for the data in. And then the query is actually going to be author ID. Sorry, you can't really see that because the mouse is in the way. Author ID is the author ID that we are passing it in, and this will find all of the blogs with this author ID. And then we'll say return, and now we're going to do some list comprehension. We're going to return a list of blog for blog in blogs. So as you remember from the list section, the list lecture, we are going to be creating a blog for each of the blog in the blogs list here that we found. However, remember that this is going to return data from the database and not blog objects. So what we want to do is in fact this CLS ** blog. So we're going to do CLS ** blog. And this will now return a list of blog objects for each of the blogs in this blogs list, which is the data that we found from the database with this specific author ID. And now we've got this way to find blogs by author ID, which means we can go back to our user model and modify this getBlogs method that is, as of yet, initialized, undefined. So what to do is say return blog dot find by author ID self dot _id. And I'm just going to have to import this. And now what this will do is when we call a specific author's getBlogs method, we will find all of the blogs with his or her author ID. So I understand there is a flow of data going from each of the models, and you have to keep a mental model in your head as to how the program is structured and how the different things interact with one another. And that is the most difficult thing to do in programming, and in software engineering as a whole, I think, which is to keep this flow of how the data moves from one class to another and from one layer to another, the database to your application to the user. Keep all that in your head, or at least the part that is needed at the current time, in order for you to understand the way that you have to design your software. So this is how simply you could find by an author ID all of the blogs for that specific author. Remember, we have modified the blog model to include the find by author ID. We've modified the database storage for the blog by including the author ID, and then we've simply gone into our user model and made sure that we can find the blogs for a specific author just like that. Okay, let's move on to the next video. I'll see you there.